Hello and welcome. Now, it's quite possible that you want to take note of when a specific event happened so that you'll be able to measure it against the activity that you're seeing in your Google Analytics account. And Google Analytics has given you a tool inside of your system to help you with that process. And it's called creating annotations. Now, if you go to your audience menu and you look at the overview for a particular site, that's what we are looking at right now, you will notice that there is activity on certain days. Now, we could mark a specific day when an activity happened so that we might be able to look at our chart or look at our data and see that there was an effect to what actually happened. In order to do that, we would then go to this middle bar and we would click this arrow, and then we would click Create New Annotation. Once we create the annotation, we're actually going to write in the actual activity. Now, we can decide whether or not we want this visibility to be shared or private. Once we do that, we can then click Save. We can then notate this by clicking the star. So then the star will actually show up on our overview chart. Now, there is another way to set up an annotation, and you can actually set one up for something that's going to happen in the future. And you can do that by going to your admin panel. And once you've actually picked the website that you're going to want to annotate, you're going to come to this right side, going to scroll down, and you're going to click Annotations. What you're then able to do is to click New Annotation. You can make sure that this annotation will be starred, and then you can actually pick your date and what the event is actually going to be. Now, again, if you want the rest of your team or anyone else that's looking at the account to actually see your annotation, you're going to click Shared. If you don't, you can actually click Private, and it'll only show up then in your account. Once you actually have the annotation, you can click Create Annotation. You can then go back and create another annotation in the very same way if you want to mark the end of something or you want to mark the beginning of something new. Annotations are a way of your being able to track activity based on events that happen in your business. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Once you have Google Analytics set up on your website, you can have the system alert you to certain activity on your site. Maybe there's been a spike in traffic, or maybe there's been a decrease in traffic. Maybe there has been an unusual amount of activity to a particular thank you page where you have a download. When those cases happen, you can actually have Google Analytics send you a custom alert. And in this video, we're going to show you how to create those custom alerts. What you'll want to do first is you'll want to go to your admin panel. And then when you go all the way over to the right side, you'll see that there is a link there for custom alerts. Now, when you click the custom alerts, what you're going to do is you're going to click New Alert. And then you're going to give your alert a name. Now, you can have this set up for one or all of your sites. And what you're going to do is you're going to then decide the time period. So you might say on a specific day you want this alert to happen and the email to be sent. So you would actually then set up your email and then include any other emails that you want to have see the alert. Perhaps you have an outsourcer or you have someone you're working with or partner and you want them to get the email also. You can also set up your mobile device in order to receive a text message when the alert takes place. Now, we'll need to go and take a look at the alert conditions to configure the actual email. Now, what we can do is we can decide on what kind of traffic it'll actually give us. We can have it to be all traffic, or we can narrow it down by any of these menus. We can alert when certain events happen with either sessions, with users, with page views, with a bounce rate, with an average session duration, or new sessions. In this particular case, we're going to say that we want something to happen when there is a specific number of page views. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to say that we want this alert to happen if the page views are going to increase by more than, we're going to say by 100 visitors, when a certain comparison is made. Now, we can have the previous day, We can have the same day in the previous week or the same day in the previous year. We could say that if our page views happened on the previous day, we want to have an alert sent to us. And so once we have the alert set up, what we're going to do is we're going to click Save Alert. And of course, once we have one alert set up, we can set up as many alerts as we like according to what we actually want to see. So again, all we'll need to do is we'll need to give the alert a name, but the most important thing will be what we want to actually see. Maybe we want to actually see if there is a bounce rate increasing by a certain value. And maybe perhaps we might say that we want the comparison time will be the previous day. So again, there's a lot of flexibility where you can actually have your Google Analytics send you an email when something is happening that you'll want to take note of inside of your website system. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now, Google Analytics will allow you to look at certain websites and notice the behavior of certain segments of that website. So for example, if we go to our admin page, and that's where we are right now, we can look at a specific site that we have under Analytics, and then we can go to a portion of the site called Segments. Then when we get to the Segments area, we can actually create a certain segment. And when we click New Segment, we can then name our segment, and we can decide on certain parameters that we actually want to view. For example, we can decide that we want to see a certain age range. We can decide we want to see a certain gender. We can decide that we want them to make sure that they're speaking a specific language. And we can also determine that the individual has to be in a certain geographical location. We can go further with segmentation and determine that the individual is using a mobile tablet or a mobile device of some kind. We can then add in behavior segmentation pieces, and this is the behavior that they engage in while on our site. We can decide we want that segment to have come a specific way. And we can go through some advanced conditions and sequences. However, what you're trying to do is you're trying to determine a specific segment of your traffic and what they're doing when they come to your site by tracking them separately based on your parameters. Now, once you have all the parameters in that you're going to want to look at, you're then going to want to click Save. And then you'll have your first segment that Google Analytics will be tracking. And we can actually decide on new segments to break down our analysis further. Once you have your custom segment set up, Google Analytics will then start tracking this data specifically according to your parameters. And it will track it in addition to the more general information that it does by default. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. As you begin to collect data on your website activity, you will be able to look at that website activity on your left side menu in various ways. For example, you may be looking at your data in terms of its audience. In case you'll get a report that looks something like this. When that happens, you will then be able to take all of that data, export it to another program for more analysis and display. And the way that you'll do that is you'll go to the top and you'll see that there is a button there that says Export. You're going to click that button. You will have the opportunity to export the data in terms of the PDF format, Google Sheets format, Microsoft Excel, or a CSV file for more number crunching. So in this particular case, we're going to create a CSV file from the audience view. You will then save that information to your hard drive. Then the data will be available in actual data points inside of your CSV file. Now, if you want data points for a different period of time, you are actually going to go to the calendar app here, and then you're going to set that period based on the specifics that you lay out. Once you've chosen the data points, you're going to click Apply. You're going to see your data change, and then you can then export a different report for the next period of time that you are actually looking for. And then you'll be able to save that period of time to your hard drive. And you can do that for any way that you choose to look at the actual data. You want to look at the data in terms of an hourly period. You can also extract that data in the very same way. So what you'll want to do is to determine what you're actually looking for and what gives you decision-making information. You'll determine the date, and then you'll export the data into a format that will allow you to do the analysis. Again, you can do that with any report on the left side menu. You'll notice that if the report is changed to a device report, you'll have data that you can actually set period of time, apply it, and once again, you can then export the data based on the way that you choose to look at it. In this particular case, we'll choose weekly. And then we'll export that data into another CSV file. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.